Obviously, there's very specific training to something like putting a tourniquet on, which you need to be able to do in your role as an army medic. What about physical training, like stuff that's happening in the gym? Does that offer any support when it comes to being able to perform in a stressful situation?
Yeah, you can try to replicate, right? So when we start to look at what's happening physiologically when we're under a lot of stress, we can use exercise to try to recreate that response. It's only going to be to a certain degree, right? So like let's say, uh, hopefully no one's ever in this situation, but let's say someone's lying in front of you and they're missing their arm, right? Like that's a 100 out of 100. You could probably get to a 60 out of 100 through physical activity. You know what I mean? Like you're super tired, you can't think, cortisol and stress is really high, heart rate is really high. You're almost just trying to replicate that situation, and you could do that through physical activity to some extent. And now you can start to practice, and you have to be like, it has to make sense, right? But you can practice skills that you're going to have to perform on your job under high levels of stress from exercise safely. Don't like don't do Fran and pull a gun out in your gym and start shooting at a target, right? But you can start to see where that kind of stuff can make sense in a very controlled and safe environment.
What's the balance between, because we talked about stress management as number one, and obviously training like that can start to put more stress on top of people if there's not
Pre-competition phase.
true.
Yeah, so it's phases of training.
Yeah, I never
And
even thought about that.
yeah, so I deploy in 2023. Am I doing that today? No, probably not, right? I'm like building a nice baseline. Lifestyle is really good. I'm really focusing on what my unit has me doing. You're coaching me, so you're giving me some really good stuff that's going to, prepare me for that pre-competition phase. And competition is deployment, right? So that's the pre-competition phase, or we're preparing for that pre-competition phase 3 months out. Maybe we're doing stuff like that because now it starts to become beneficial. Because I think I knew where you were going with that. It's like we're trying to manage stress, but we're also doing it. It's like imagine coaching a fucking CrossFitter, right? Are you doing 21-15-9 as hard as you can all year round? You probably shouldn't be, right? Stress management, self-preservation, and being able to mimic those things in competition, right? So it's like you got to ramp them up and get them ready and peak for that thing.